get triggered much? How do you know when it's happening? How do you know when you're getting triggered? Some of you are like, I know exactly what I'm doing when I get triggered. I'm driving my car and some jerk cuts me off and that triggers me. Or somebody says something stupid. I'll tell you right now, sometimes we don't even recognize when we're getting triggered. But our body starts to change and we feel this emotion. We don't even know where it's coming from. Like, wait a minute, where did that come from? So let's talk about what to do when we get triggered. So first of all, getting triggered is something happens to us, right? There's something that happens out there and we feel an emotion, an immediate emotion to whatever the situation happens to be. Now, once we feel that emotion and we witness the thing and we feel the emotion, we assign meaning to it. And once we've assigned a meaning, now that emotion turns into a deeper feeling. And once that feeling takes root, we take action. Now, depending on how positive or negative the meaning was, will determine exactly what type of action we start to take, right? So what happens though when we get triggered and we immediately move into this deep negative emotional state and then we do something stupid? We're flipping the bird, we're screaming at people, we're arguing, we're causing all kinds of problems. We're in a store and we're ripping people up on one side, down the other because we're having a bad day. So what can we do when we get triggered to get our power back, to bring ourselves back into control so that when we get to that place, we never have to go there in the first place? Let's talk about that for a second. So first of all, when we feel that initial emotion or we see that initial stimulus come in, there's something we got to do, and that is recognize it. We're going to recognize, there it is. Okay, we're recognizing that feeling is there, or that I should say that the emotion is there. So next, what do we have to do? Because we've now recognized it, but now we have to acknowledge it. I see you coming for me, you jerk. You cut me off in the middle of the freeway here, right? Why? Why are we acknowledging it? Because in order for us to do something about it, we recognize it's there, we acknowledge that it's coming for me. Now let's get curious, because right now we're feeling something. The question is, where are we feeling it? Is it in the chest? Is it in the back? Am I starting to get a migraine? Where am I feeling the emotion? And is it making me all tense? Making me all freaked out, right? What exactly are we feeling? Where are we feeling it? How are we experiencing it? So we get curious and then we note it down. We write it down. This process of writing it down and taking notes as to what's happening is what is called a pattern interrupt, which allows us to then create a different neural pathway, which means we can rewrite the story, tell ourselves a different story, bring ourselves back into control. So a lot of times if we get out of control or we've lost some type of control, we just got to breathe. Take a deep breath, relax, blow it out, and just remember, when we feel that initial emotion, if we can take a second and tell ourselves the least amount of harm possible in the story. So the story that we tell ourselves, the least amount of harm possible, it lessens the severity of the language that we use, which reduces the level of the emotional response. And this can happen in so many different situations, whether that's a spouse that comes home late and that spouse is just telling themselves a really negative story about why their spouse is late, versus telling yourself the story of the least amount of harm possible. So when your spouse walks through the door, your partner walks through the door, now instead of jumping all over them, it's more of a curiosity. Oh my gosh, are you okay? I was worried about you. What happened with your day today? Versus jumping in with accusations. Huge difference. And then I'll leave you with this. Positive triggers are a fantastic way to reduce negative triggers. So if we're setting positive triggers for ourselves, and we'll get into that in another video, but if you want to further discussion, just say, hey, talk to me, and we'll talk to you down below.